Alrighty, welcome to our podcast. I am Malia, aka Lilo the Creator, and I am joined with R. Murphy Jr., aka the Imprisoned Man. So, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling lovely. It's a great day to be alive. We pushing fantasies of a convicted felon. So y'all gotta make sure y'all go out there and also get a place to keep secrets in a memory. Shameless plug. Before we really get into the nitty gritty, I like the response and the feedback that I've been getting back from the people who did go out and purchase the book. Thank you very much if you're listening. Thankfully, people out there, still supporting, paperback, although it's available on ebook on all book reading platforms. Um, but other than that, it's a blessing. I'm blessed to be here. How you feeling today?
I am feeling good today.
So, highs and lows, highs and lows. What's the topics? What's the topic? What we getting into this evening?
All right, our topics for this podcast are the highs and lows in Philadelphia over the past decade. Our second topic will be covering ICE raids in Philadelphia. And our last and final topic will be what is the difference between a dad and a father?
Great, great. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just go ahead and go into the highs and lows of Philadelphia over the past decades, and I want to get right into it. Um, what has been Philadelphia's biggest accomplishment over the past decade that you
Well,
would say like
from my perspective, I would definitely say one of our biggest accomplishments was the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. I would say I might be a little biased because that is my favorite team. But I feel like that was a big accomplishment for us. We have revitalized neighborhoods. Areas like Fishtown and Northern Liberty saw a big growth and development. We have expanded public transit projects and growth in tech and startups. And we're also hosting major events.
that sounds decent. That sounds decent, right? Philadelphia also got a new mayor. She's a sister. So, how do you feel she's like? What do you feel she has done to benefit the city since she's been there and it's been under her rule in regards of being the mayor?
I feel like she understands us, but then it's like at the same time she has had her low points
Okay.
where like for instance the trash situation that recently just happened. This could have been avoided if you just raised the pay because it is hot, trash stinks. So
Uh-huh.
I feel like we should accommodate our city workers and appreciate the hard work they're putting in all types of weather. The heat,
Uh-huh.
the snow, the hail, rain, everything.
Okay. Well, this is how I feel, and I'm not out there. I've been in prison for the past 21 years, and we shooting this cast with me from behind the wall, which is why the word is shatter from behind the wall. And yes, you have to pay your workers. You have to pay your first responders, your people that's on front lines. You have to pay your officers. You have to pay your firefighters, your nurses. Your doctors. You have to make sure you take care of sanitation, transportation. You have to keep those type of people happy because ultimately, at the end of the day, those are the people who got the belly of any metropolis, any city, any town, any state. That's what's keeping it rolling and going and thriving outside of the consumers, the people who live there, the taxpaying citizens. Don't nobody want to have that smell of trash lingering through their neighborhoods and throughout the air, especially during this time of the year. So, yeah, of course, I believe in pay raises and freedom of speech and equal right to protest and, fight for what you feel is right and what you feel is equally deserved. Um, they just got to do better. Like, the city got to do better. The sister just coming into play. So she probably inherited something that the person or her predecessor from prior, you feel what I'm saying, left in her lap. You dig what I'm saying? So she working out the kinks. It's just sad that the people who want to enjoy a great and peaceful clean, a smog-free city for the summer had to deal with that. But I heard that they came to an end and they got the place cleaned up and everybody ready for the festivities.
Yes. And I would like to also introduce our special guest, Fizo.
Yes, Fizo the Kid, Sunny Baghdad, representing out of Ozone Park, Queens, New York City. What's going on, brother?
How you doing? What's up?
So, you got the topics. You heard the topics. Right now, we covering the highs and lows of Philadelphia in the past 10 years. And my next question that I want to ask our co-host, which is, what major challenges has Philadelphia faced in the past decade, such as maybe crime, inequality, um, a lack of inclusion, and so on and so forth.
All right, well, 2021 actually marked a record year with over 560 homicides, the highest in the city history. And it really affected the black and Latino communities, particularly young men, which is really sad to see
Why do
because
you feel, not to knock your wisdom, but why do you feel whenever people speak of crime rates and crime waves and the effects of it, it has such a detrimental effect on the inner city, or should I say, urban communities where black and Latino. It's like I've been hearing that all the way out throughout the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. Why is that such like? Why does that have such an effect on inner city youth? And I want to throw that question to Fizo and ask him like, what does he feel about that, and why does he think it has such an effect on inner city dwellers?
honestly, I feel like because a lot of young African Americans and the Latino community, they don't really have as much structure and stability and maybe somebody to speak to them about, all right, this isn't the path you should go down so you don't end up here.
Okay, what you say to that, Fizo?
I agree because it's just so ironic that I was just literally having the same conversation like a couple minutes ago. We were talking about basically how the OGs, like the so-called OGs, right? They don't really like lead, like show us, show us the way. You get what I'm saying? Because like, for instance, I was just talking about like moving to Africa or something. You get what I'm saying? And then we like OGs don't really be talking like that. They rather just be on a block all day and still doing things at like 50, 60, and that's what we sort of grow up to only know. New York or Philadelphia. We don't really know nothing else because that's what we grew up around. So I agree.
So what I'm gathering from you is it's throwing me off because Lilo the creator looked like a purple Smurf. I don't know what's going on with her lighting over there. She might want to situate it and fix her lighting. But there we go. But where you at, my brother Fizo? I don't even see you on a clip, my G. But to speak to what it is that you said, right? You probably got to get a little closer, but to speak to it is what you were saying, right? Like the OGs, right? The guys that came before you, who should be setting a proper example. I understand exactly what you're saying. It goes back to the old saying, right? That when children are growing from young to older to old, they're like sponges. We're like sponges, human beings. We gravitate towards where our most, where we're most influenced at, right? So it does fall back on those who are here before them, the elders, the OGs, the older brothers, to say, hey, listen, this is not what you want to do. But they can't say those things and encourage these younger youths to go in a different direction because they're doing the same thing. Or it's this bad stigma that I'm learning is going around with a lot of the younger generation now. Their thing is well, you did it. Why can't I do it? And the thing is it goes back to what Hov said. Hov did that, so you don't have to go through that. So you got most of these guys that they're trying to emulate, whether it's the local guy from around the way or it's the rapper, right, who they believe will think is still in the mix of it because he's talking like that. He's making this drill music, and I want to get to that point. Do you feel that today's music have anything to do with the way these younger youths think and conduct themselves, Fizo?
Yes, I agree.
So you agree that a lot of today's artists bear some form of responsibility in the form of mentorship / role modeling, and they've been given a platform, and that's a topic that we want to cover. And I hope that you come back in on a co-host tip so we can touch that. And the name of that topic is going to be mismanaging your blessings and properly managing your blessings. You got a lot of brothers out there who are blessed to have these platforms, but what are they really using these platforms for? It's as if they're dumbing down the use. And I don't mean to seem so harsh or to sound so old, but it's as if they're dumbing down the use with the type of music that they're putting out. And then these kids are so influenced because there's not a father in the house in most cases. Mom trying to do the best she can with what she know. So it's almost as if the music is raising the kids today, and the choice of music is so poor, so it reflects in their behavior and in their attitude. It's deplorable to me, but I definitely feel that today's music has a big hold on the youth today and have a lot to do with a lot of the inner city violence. And I'm gonna say it. I'm coming from the same place a lot of these rappers say they come from. I'm living it. I'm living it right now. 21 years in prison, and I can say unequivocally, with no shame, that a lot of the music bears a lot of the responsibility for why a lot of the inner cities look the way they look. For them and those who don't like how I said it, feel how you want to feel. It's about ownership and accountability. And this is what we do here on this joint. We don't hold our tongue, hold our mouth to the ground for nobody. How do you feel about that, Lilo?
Honestly, I feel like the music nowadays does have a strong impact on the youth, and I can say I've seen it firsthand happen with friends of mine and also with my brother. When I was
Yeah.
younger, he used to listen to a lot of that, and now he's in jail for what he chose to do.
And he trying to like live out or emulate what he was hearing coming through them speakers.
hmm But
Yeah.
the one thing I will say is he does not want me to fall down that path. He does not want me to follow what he ended up doing and where he's at. So he will make sure I'm on top of everything I need to be on top of from a young age
Right.
even to now.
Right. That's great. At least he's not continuing a cycle by just allowing you to think that the things that he did were okay. So at least in that way, he's trying to take some type of ownership and accountability. But in what ways has Philadelphia improved access to education, healthcare, or public services?
All right. So, for education, more local control and updated curriculum, we have spent over 100 million on standardized high quality curriculum, math, ELA, science across schools. For healthcare, we have more health centers. A state bill in June of 2025 allows a new city health center on Friends Hospital campus, which brings primary care as an adult, pediatric, prenatal, dental, behavioral, etc.
Cool. So my next question to you would be, Lilo, is what should be the city's top priorities for the next 10 years?
Honestly, I feel like the city's top priority should be working on more gun violence acts to help push out a positive word based on a mass shooting that just happened in South Philly a few days ago. Feel like
Wow.
feel like the gun violence funding can really be used. We can get more school funding, maybe for after school programs, summer camps, stuff like that to actually keep kids entertained, but also they're learning at the same time, so they would want to keep learning.
Yeah. Um, that sounds like dead on. I mean, I really couldn't say much more to that. You got to give the youth something to do, right? So it's really close to three different generations right here on this podcast right now, speaking right. Um, and in regards to the different age bracket that we're all in, and I believe that we all can agree that you have to give the youth something to do. You can't tell them to put the gun down, put the drugs down, go to school if you still have no outlets and you're not, you know, nurturing other things that they could be doing to keep themselves occupied and keep themselves away from certain places, people, and things. I think that that's like a big, major thing to where if you want the youth to go in the opposite direction, you have to put alternative ways and methods and means out there for them to survive off. How do you feel about that, Fizo?
I agree, but there's not a lot of outlets that the youth are engaged in nowadays. Like,
Yeah,
for instance, nobody that I know under the age of like 16 play video games anymore. Like,
wow.
where the mother? Like, they not playing no video games. They don't even want to go play basketball.
So mothers went from trying their hardest and damnedest to get their kids from in front of the screen to the kids don't even pay no attention to the screen. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, they don't play video games no more.
Wow. So it's the adults that's playing the games, and the kids who should be playing the games is doing what?
They outside.
Outside. They outside.
Partying. And I ain't even gonna say they like doing violent things because they're not. Most of them they just outside having fun. You know, they exploring. They're doing other things. They not home no more.
Yeah. But do you think?
Day and age, I guess.
Do you think more structure is needed for the youth today to kind of deter a lot of this gun violence and a lot of this misled behavior that's taking place?
Yes. Yeah, more structure would be, but you can't. I don't know. I would just say like give them something to do. You know, not to be harsh or anything. Like a drug addict. You know.
Yeah.
Like you give them something to take their mind off of using the drug. So
basically,
if we live in the hood. Every day you wake up and see, what we see every day. What you're gonna do. But if you wake up and like day trip. When we were younger,
no doubt,
field trip and stuff.
So basically,
stuff like that. You different ways.
You agree with what I'm saying? You just formulating it in a different way. You're basically speaking about structured activities. You feel what I'm saying? Having your day structured. Like you're gonna be here at this time doing this. You'll be here at this time doing that. Then you'll be over here doing this. I feel it should be a lot more PG, a lot more parental guidance and structure. But whatever it may be, riding dirt bikes, riding skateboards, riding BMX. You feel what I'm saying? Riding motocross, learning, getting outside the box. Go learn golf. Do something. You feel what I'm saying? Some initiative programs should be taking place. You know what I'm saying? To step in. And with that being said, and both of you can kind of weigh in on that. How has community activism or grassroots organizations brought about positive change in the cities, New York, Philadelphia? Either one of y'all could step up. What organizations and groups are out there to help affect this change and provide this structure? You want to take that, Lilo?
All right. Well, like I said before, they do have the gun violence acts. They do have groups. They also have for recovery, people in recovery, they have groups for them as well. And I also feel like us having so many people in the city who are not afraid to speak their mind, whether it's the mayor, the governor, the president, I feel like that also helps us out as a community as a whole, because one person can say something and they can say, oh, well, that's just you. But when a group of you speak out and say, this is what we want to change in the city, this is how we should operate the city, that helps us a lot, because that tells them, okay, they are really determined to make their city a safe space for not only them, but maybe for their kids, their grandkids, uncles, aunts.
Okay. So, Figo, what do you say in regards to people stepping up and trying to create these positive and safe spaces and constructive, regimented things for the youth, alternative things for the youth to do? What are you seeing in New York and Queens?
They have what's that, the police academies, whatever that is. I forgot what that was called.
Yeah,
In the
they had that back in the days. Yeah,
but
do you think they can do better?
I feel like they don't care. Like the people.
So you had to
care.
You had to think long and hard and trying to pull those things out to places or people are doing things. So you basically feel that there's a lot more that could be done. There's a lot of space that could be filled in that area, in that arena.
Oh no, I had a whole different thought in my head about that.
Which was
because for instance, but it really wasn't focused on the youth. But I don't know if you're familiar with Safe Horizon.
No.
All right, so Safe Horizon is something in New York, right? So it's basically they help anybody and everybody, but mostly you can go there if you're a female. If you're say if you was a single female with a kid and you were in a domestic violence issue or whatever, you go to Safe Horizon, right? Now it sounds like something good, right? Until you actually speak to people. I spoke to a female and a couple of females one day that experienced the Safe Horizon. They were actually thinking about making something better because they said that
they had bad experiences.
They touch females and it's really hard for females. It's really hard. They get touched and they be scared to talk up and stuff. And I'm
so the conditions are deplorable. I think I've heard something about that. So that the conditions are deplorable, hygiene wise. Rodents running around the place. I think I heard about that and from a female friend of mine that I know a couple years back. And it's basically not a safe place at all. Hence the name is Safe Horizon. But
yeah, I feel like it's propaganda.
Yeah, it's just propaganda. It's just a money grab, right? Make it look like we're doing something. Well, the thing is only the people can affect change. I believe 100% those types of things are taking place, right? Because it's corruption. Anywhere man is involved with anything and their heart is not clean and they're not doing what's pleasing in the eyes of the Most High, there'll always be corruption. That's something that we got to understand. It's for those who are the pure in heart and righteous in mind, right? Because I personally think that all men and women are evil. It's just some do better at keeping the evil away. You dig what I'm saying? And that's just my take on it. Other people may have a different philosophy to it. But I say that to say, in order to see the change you want, people have to step up and get into it. I think it's a great idea if those females band together or a few people band together and create a proper replica of what a safe horizon should look like for people who are running from bad places or are in need of temporary housing or whatever the case may be. They should be able to find safe horizon, safety in safe place. You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of bad actors out there, playing pretend. But my next question really was because a lot of people have this thing about gentrification, and over the past 21 years I've been incarcerated. That's all I keep hearing about gentrification, and I feel that a lot of brothers and sisters have a misunderstanding of what gentrification is. So my next question is about that for Queens, and it's also about that for Philadelphia. So I'm addressing both of you. What neighborhoods in y'all communities have experienced significant displacement due to quote unquote gentrification? And Malia, you could start.
All right. So, in the neighborhood of, Philadelphia in general, we have a good amount. We have Point Breeze, Fishtown, East Kensington, Graduate Hospital, Mantua, Powelton Village, Brewery Town, West Kensington, Norris Square, and University City.
So those are the areas. And what's your take on gentrification? What do you believe that is?
I believe it's the process where maybe a low income neighborhood experiences like an influx, if that's the right terminology for it. And
an influx of what?
it would be of higher income residents, maybe pushing them out of
And
their
that's your belief?
neighborhood.
And that's your belief? And so you feel people are affected in those areas you named because they're being pushed out of the communities or neighborhoods that they lived in for a set period of time in their lives?
And me personally, from where I grew up, I can speak for the Mantua area because they are building a lot of apartments, and they actually have built a new apartment building on the block I grew up on.
Okay.
Which has tore down a big lot. They're tearing down buildings around 38th Street, 36th Street, and they're building new apartments to push new people in and kind of push the older people out.
So that's gentrification. Gentrification is to revitalize. And I want you to pull that up in Webster so you can give us the terminology of what gentrification means as Fizo gives me his take on it. What's your take on what's taking place with gentrification, Fizo, in New York City?
New York City is very gentrified. But I feel like they doing that because it's only gentrification in like low poverty neighborhoods. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like that's like the crap, like the crap pot. You get what I'm saying? Because you're putting all these mixed races and these low poverty neighborhoods. And
so
what do you expect to happen?
These what we would call rundown urban inner city areas were the melting pot, right, of America, where all forms and types of immigrants came, and they were slum areas. Some people made it temporary homes. Some people have made it long-term homes. But do you believe that gentrification is a bad thing?
No.
No?
No.
Great answer. Great answer. So, Lilo, what's Webster's definition of gentrification?
All right, it says gentrification is the process where a low income neighborhood experiences an influx of higher income residents, leading to increased property values, renovation, and changes in the neighborhood's character.
Renovation and the changes in the neighborhood's character, right? So, we should have been the custodians of our neighborhood, these melting pots, these areas that we chose to make our permanent home. So many people have passed through, speaking of Caucasian Europeans and so many other different races, they come temporarily, they stay, they move on. They may or may not have purchased homes in those areas. Some may have not. But those who have, for so long, throughout the 80s, they called the Bronx the burnt down Bronx, right? And neither of you are old enough to kind of know or remember those times. Even if we're talking about Philadelphia, a lot of those areas that you named, Lizzo, those was very undesired and downtrodden areas that the people who chose to stay in those areas, who so happened to be, for lack of better terminology, people from I'm going to use the proper term, people from the African diaspora, right? People, coming from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica, and Trinidad, and Africa, and the deep South who migrated up into these areas. They made these areas their home, right? But what didn't take place is the people who made these areas their home, not everyone, but a large majority, put no stock in the neighborhoods. They tore them down. I tore my community and my neighborhood down, right? I made hundreds of thousands of dollars during the crack epidemic of not only poisoning my own people, but along with poisoning my own people, I tore my neighborhood and my community down because I didn't revitalize it. I didn't gentrify my neighborhood. Gentrification is to revitalize and beautify your own neighborhood and community. A natural occurrence that takes place when you beautify your own neighborhood and your community, when you buy these fixer-uppers, when you buy these abandoned buildings, and you fix them up, and you get in touch with the city, and you pull your permits, and your remodel of your home that you remodeled is now on the books, and that square footage, right? You have an ARV, right? Estimated renovated value. Once you renovate and gentrify, the property value is automatically going to go up from the city. The city want their money because this house is now worth more. So because this house is now worth more, the person who owns it has to charge a higher rent. The people who have been living in those communities for so many years, those who didn't partake in ownership, those who didn't partake in revitalization, those who didn't partake in buying and taking pride in their own community, they are now being pushed out. And everybody is saying that, oh, you know, for lack of a better word, white people are moving into our neighborhoods and they're fixing our neighborhoods up and then they're raising up the rent prices and they're kicking us out. And when actually that's not the case. I chose not to partake in what law-abiding citizens was partaking in and taking value and putting real value into buying property, fixing this property up, being a landlord. Instead, we were renters. So now the people who chose for so long to rent and lacked financial literacy are now the people who are being pushed into another neighborhood from one Section 8 home to another Section 8 home, or from one affordable housing rent prorated location to another print brigade location. So me personally, it's not like a feel sorry thing for me. You dig what I'm saying? There's a lot of people who work hard their whole life, paid their taxes, paid off their mortgage, and paid for their home. And now they have options, whether they want to sell, whether they want to stay, whether they want to pay the new property tax, or whether they want to cash out. But I feel that we should get the financial literacy that is needed and that is thirsted in our communities. We should get proper money smarts. We should get proper investment strategies and skills. That's what's lacking. That's what needs to take place. And we won't be at the bad or short end of gentrification, which is a natural occurrence. You dig? And with that being said, we moving out of the beautiful state of Philadelphia, and we getting into these ICE raids. Right? Which we don't have a lot of time to get into, but my question is we all know what an ICE raid is immigration enforcement, right? Coming in and enforcing their thing, their governmental thing. How do you feel how do y'all feel like that's playing out? Feasible, how do you feel that's playing out, and is it has any kind of detriment to the working community of New York, of all of the immigrants being like yanked out?
To me, that's a love-hate situation for me, but I feel like that is wrong because you're ultimately separating families.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a very big problem. Every day.
Yeah.
And people are getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of police brutality is like involved in that. Like, I don't know if you've seen what happened, like the news in Florida, what they said they was going to do to people. But yeah, it's like a love-hate relationship with me. I think it's like inhumane, all in all.
Yeah. And how do you feel about it, Lilo?
Honestly, I'm with Vizo. It is a love and hate relationship because a lot of people have came from like Mexico, Jamaica, Trinidad, other places, and have really came here to start working really hard to get what they desire out of life for not only them but maybe their kids, their mom, their dad, who might not be able to help themselves just yet. And I actually seen a video of a dad. He came from Mexico for his daughter's graduation, and he went to go get the car, and ICE caught him, and she didn't even get a chance to say I love you to her father before they pulled off.
I feel that a lot more of it could be a lot more humane, right? People say what rights do immigrants have during an ICE raid? They have a lot of rights. When you're on the American soil, you have a right to due process, right? And there's a way to go about enforcing our immigration rules and policies and so on and so forth. Rules apply for a reason. Without rules, we would have complete and total anarchy. So no one wants complete and total anarchy. So when you don't follow rules, look what happened to me. I've been serving a 23 to 50 year prison sentence. I got 21 years in on that sentence for not following rules, right? So rules have to be in effect. If we have no rules, we have a lawless society. But there's a way to enforce those rules. We have immigration reform and immigration bills and policies and so forth that's being put in. I believe that a lot of it could be done with a little bit more care and understanding simply outside of our ancestors, those who hail from the African diaspora who were brought here through force, I feel that majority of the people who are here in America, right, in North America, in this continent, they are the the heirs or what have you of immigrants. Some came during a time when there was no real strict immigration policies, and they came in illegally. Some came in through Ellis Island, where they had tried to, put forth some form of a legitimate immigration policy or immigration entry type of a thing and track people who came in. And then once again, you have those who, they came, legitimately, rightfully so, and those are the people who are enjoying the freedoms of America and no ICE problems, right? But those who came in illegally and just bum rushed the borders, me, even as a person who sits here in prison, I don't feel that you should just bum rush anybody's borders, right? You should respect the rules and laws and policies of the land. But once again, for those who didn't choose to follow it, or those who were given some form of sanction, some form of safety through the Obama and Biden administration, I believe that those safeties and those sanctions should be upheld. I don't think that somebody should just come in like a wrecking ball and just try to tear all of those things up and chase and force all of those people out. You dig what I'm saying? So with that said, we'll continue to watch it. We'll continue to see it. Hopefully they could deal with it in a humane way to enforce laws. You don't want to break laws trying to enforce laws. That's kind of counterproductive and like an oxymoron. You know what I'm saying? So some form of legislative efforts may or may not be put into effect to kind of curb that or situate that. But let's watch it. Let's see it all play out. But once again, we're all human beings at the end of the day. A lot of those people who they're trying to call criminals and bad actors I'm in prison right now, and there's no immigrants in this prison that I'm in. It's all American citizens, born and raised, murder, rape, pedophilia, robbery, drugs. So before you go calling the kettle black, you must look at yourself. Don't say, oh, those people come over here, they're murderers and rapists. And when I don't see a lot of immigrants here, I see a lot of Americans in here who in this prison right now for murder and rape and so on and so forth. So those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. We have a crime problem here in America, and say you don't want to add to that crime problem that we have in America by bringing other criminals in. But don't get on this pedestal, don't get in that platform and pull your dog whistle out and talk to people who really don't know politics and policies and rules and scare them into voting for you or getting behind your policies because you want them to believe that every immigrant who came in legally or illegally is a bad actor, when it's not true. When most immigrants come here and work harder than majority Americans. Wouldn't y'all agree?
Yes.
And especially Fizo, you in the Mecca, you in the melting pot of America, New York City. So you know it firsthand, right?
Yeah.
So, we ain't gonna drag it out. But that's just our take on it. That's my take on it. You dig what I'm saying? Like, we got a guy that's on his soapbox and he running them up. He running them up. It's his platform. It's his show. We just got to sit and watch. But for those who listening and tuning in, to affect change, you have to be a part of change. I'm gonna always say it. To be the change you want to see in the world, you got to get into it. You got to be a part of that change that you want to see in the world. Now we on to a topic that we all three could weigh in on. I was asked the other day when I was out walking the track, trying to get some peace and meditation, and Kat asked me, yo, what's the difference between a dad and a father? So now, I want to ask both of you. So my question to Fizo, what's your belief of the difference between a dad and a father? Is there a difference?
Yeah.
So explain to me what's a dad and a father, and why is the two different?
So, to me, like a dad, like when you say dad, you would feel like somebody that raised you. You get what I'm saying? Like that's my dad. He raised me. You get what I'm saying? But that's not your biological father. That's your father's your father. You know what I'm saying? Like he had you, but your dad could be like your mom's boyfriend, but your mom and that guy been together for 17 years. You get what I'm saying? And he's been taking care of you like a father, but that's your dad. He's not your father.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So could a dad be a father?
I feel like father, when you say father, like that father title is biological. You know what I'm saying? I really,
okay. So I would have to disagree with you, but we going hear what Lilo got to say in regards to that. What's your take and what's your belief on that, Lila?
All right. So, me,
The
I
difference.
feel like the difference between a dad and a father, a dad, in my opinion, anybody could be a dad,
Okay.
honestly. But
All
a
right.
father, it takes a real man to step up, biologically or not. A stepdad can become a father because he stepped up and took his role into being there constantly for you when maybe your dad wasn't, or making sure you have the structure in life that you need to make sure you do nothing but succeed in life, instead of just playing a bag, only contacting you if it's about certain things. He's
Uh huh.
actively in your life, checking
Uh
up
huh.
on you every day, making sure you're okay, and not just for a specific reason do they want to speak to you.
So I have to agree with you, Lilo, and that's my belief and that's my take. A dad is something that you become, and I'm not Webster's dictionary, but this is just my take on it. A dad is something that you become, right? So you have a child, you lay down with a woman, you procreate, you have a child, and then you're in the hospital. Now, a child is born, and they say, "Oh, congratulations, you're a dad now," right? So I believe that anyone who has a child is a dad, right? But the next step is rearing the child. The next step is playing a pivotal and important role in molding that child, right? That's where a father comes in at. A father is one who comes in and teaches the child. He's there as much as he possibly can, day to day, to guide that child, to give that child the proper parental guidance, the proper toolage, the proper role model and person to look up to, that shoulder to cry on, that person that they can come to and say, "Hey, look, Dad, this is the case," or "This is that, this is the case." You rear them. You're their friend. You're their dad. You're their father. Most importantly, at the end of the day, tell them when it's right. Tell them when they're wrong, even when they don't want to hear it. I personally believe that a dad is what everyone becomes. Stepdad, biological dad, but you steps into fatherhood when you take on the day-to-day responsibilities to be a father. That's why it's celebrated and it's not called Dad's Day. It's called Father's Day. They celebrate those who were there on a day-to-day basis. So how do you feel about the philosophy between a dad and a father now, Fizo, now that you've heard my opinion on it?
I would have to agree with you. The way you put it, the way you put it was kind of smooth.
Okay, okay.
Made perfect sense.
Yeah, that's why you got this one term, be a father to your child. You think what I'm saying? You have to be that constant, that role model, and that particular person. And we're running out of time due to my constraints behind the wall. I want to wish everybody peace, love, uh, be the best you that you want the world to see. You define what's cool. Don't allow no one else to define what's cool for you. Honesty, sincerity, those are all the things that make you a decent man or a woman. Do what is pleasing in the eyes of the Most High at all times, and you can't go wrong. Things will go wrong, but what you have to understand is the pen has been lifted. The ink is dry. What is written and what it will be, will be. What the Most High has for you is for you. And Fizo, you got some parting words you want to leave the people with?
No, not really.
Not really? All right. What you got for the people, Lila?
Alrighty, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in to our
Yes,
podcast episode.
yeah.
Also, for the dads out there, don't be afraid to step up and take your role as seriously as possible,
Yes.
because that is one thing your son or daughter will never forget, is how you treated them from the time they were born until the time
you leave the earth.
Okay.
Like the parent is going to leave you for the child.
So I strongly suggest that you take your role, and for the mothers too, mother, father, stepdad, stepmom, take your role as seriously as possible.
Yes, yes. And on that note, this is the imprisoned man from behind the wall. Peace, we out. Make sure y'all tune in, and don't forget, Fantasies of a Convicted Felon will available now on all